Hallo, kan I høre mig? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Listen, I just want to say thank you for coming here. I'm not used to talk like this, and I'm very sorry that I'm late because it was supposed to be at 4 o'clock. I was held up because I promised to do some interviews, and which I've done. That was delayed, so that's the reason. Much not. And one of the things I said when I said yes to the invitation to come here was that I will do whatever is necessary to make this a better place for us all. I would prefer not to give speeches, and especially not with these type of things. And here I am giving a speech with one of these. But whatever is needed, I will do it. I don't know if you know me, but my name is Ole Dammegård. I was born here, not far from here. I moved to Sweden when I was a kid, and I come from a family that was very much involved in the resistance movement against the German occupation here in Denmark. So my granddad was he sat in the Vesterfängsel. He was jailed for helping the Jews. My dad was in the resistance movement. My grandmother's sister used to smuggle weapons in a baby cot and so on. So I grew up with all of these stories about how important it is, even if you're a small Mr. Nobody, to still stand up for what is true and right, even though it's shit scary from time to time. And so somehow I got it in my genes, I think, from listening to all of these stories and so on. And then in Sweden, when I grew up, I started working as a journalist, and in the early 1980s, for some reason I become very, very interested in the JFK assassination. I think I read a couple of hundred books. I got almost obsessed with trying to find out what was really going on, because that was the first time that I understood that we're being fed absolute lies when it comes to many of these conspiracies. And so I started with JFK. That made me more and more interested in the Martin Luther King assassination, and now somebody is calling me. And anyway, JFK, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm X, Abraham Lincoln, and so on. And after a while, I started seeing that it was almost like these assassinations were carried out according to a template. They were done in different ways on a street level, the killing of the person, but the whole cover-up, the whole setup was almost following a template. And when I studied the old Romans, I found out that they were actually the ones that came up with these methods that have just been used and again and again and again. And one of them it's called problem, reaction, solution. That you secretly, the people in power, secretly create a problem to get a reaction from the public to accept the solution, which will be served to us from the same people that carried out the problem. And this problem is very, very often in the form of some kind of terror act, assassination, and so on. And so here we are again. I mean, my dad used to be here. He was not far from here. He was a military guy, later in the resistance movement, fighting very hard to liberate Denmark from the Nazis. We study history. You see, after the Second World War, that the same power that was actually behind the whole Nazi war machine and behind the whole Second World War and the First World War are still active. The exact same power elite. And the agenda is still being carried out. Now it's in a more modernized form, but by the same families, by the same power elite, by the same groups. One of these parts are behind us here. And I just want to say that I come in love, I come in peace, I'm not here to spread fear, anger, hate, whatever. I'm here to meet people without uniform, friends. I'm here to meet friends with uniform. I'm here to meet friends from the elite if they choose so. Because I would say that even though they're carrying out horrendous acts, absolute horrendous acts, I mean, when you look at it, the agenda behind it, they are super criminals. Hard words, but that's what they are. And they're damaging the rest of humanity in an awful way. I'm here to judge the sin, not the sinner. And it is very important for me that that is where I come from. Because if you go into their game, which is violence, which is terror, which is a lot of atrocities against humanity, if you're in their ball game, if you join that, they will just hit back so much harder because this is their game. So I would say that way to enter and meet these powers is by transparency. Expose them, show what is going on, shine the light on them, expose the dark corners, and aim the spotlight at them, saying, we see you. You have been doing this for decades and decades, getting away with it because we have not been aware of it. You've been controlling us from a point where most of us have had absolutely no idea what's going on. But that time is over. And at this point, I've been doing this for 30 years. I had people killed around me. I had friends murdered. I had to leave Sweden because on my investigation into the Palme assassination, because I've been exposing that to an extreme extent, I would say. I've written a book called Coup d'etat in slow motion, where I name all the people involved, names, pictures, documents, whatever, it's all there. And the people that I've been part of exposing, because it's not a Swedish assassination, it is a global, it comes from people part of this or higher that were behind that assassination. It's the exact same power that was behind JFK, Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, Robert Smith in South Africa, Carlos Prats in Argentina, Salvador Allende, Che Guevara, John Lennon, Bob Marley indirectly because he was slowly murdered, which most people are not aware of. It's the same power elite that have done this and are still carrying it out because so many of us are still asleep. So I have dedicated my life to try to make this a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful world. The world that it's supposed to be. If you look at nature, it's designed for absolute harmony, balance, everything of these things. That's what life is about. And that's what we are here to learn, to live in peace and harmony, side by side, brothers and sisters. And then there's this small little bully, I would say, like a bully in a schoolyard, that are messing this whole planet up. And when you look upon this group, I mean, it's ridiculous how we let us control by them. They are maximum 2,000–3,000 people in total, and we are 7 billion. I mean, come on, guys. It's a joke. And I just want to say, if you can please study this building here. Is it filled with people? No. There are a few people. I don't even know if they're here, if this is a decoy, because the whole thing sucks. I mean, security-wise, this is not the place they would do it. I totally believe that this is a total decoy, and they're having dinner somewhere else, laughing at us. But I truly enjoy this because it doesn't matter for me if they're there or wherever they are hiding in the shadows, because there's not a lot of courage going on in their area, I would say. No balls. The balls are on this side. And anyway, if you check out the size of this building and look how few people are in there, this is one of the 3 major groups in the world, the so-called one of the most powerful groups in the world. Then you see the size of the building. If you compare that to the size of Copenhagen, that is a tiny building. If you compare Copenhagen to the size of Denmark, it's a tiny, Copenhagen is a tiny part. That is even smaller. Copenhagen, Europe, that is ridiculous. Europe to the world, it's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke that we are letting them do. We should just laugh and go away and say, you create your wars, we're not going. I want a beer and a party and let's enjoy this, you know? So, okay, well, I really do not like this sound, but apparently it's my voice that sounds from there. I feel schizophrenic now because I can hear a voice in my head. And it's not mind controlled, at least I hope so. Anyway, so I say, brothers and sisters, time to wakey up. And you are the symbol of the future, I would say, because we are here. You are one of the few that are awake here at this point. But I tell you, I am super optimistic. Because this is 30 years down the road. Like I said, I've gone through absolute hell like most of truth seekers. Luke is one over here that knows what it's up about. I mean, it is a scary, scary road to walk. There's a lot of people that are not with us anymore that have had to pay a high price, getting their total lives destroyed, their credibility, or they have lost their lives. So, but at this point, I think there's an incredible awakening going on a global scale. I mean, I used it in the early days when I met David Icke, for instance, the first time. That was in '89 or something like that. We were 88 people. I think there's even more people here now that were there listening. Nobody knew anything. And now look at him filling Wembley, and like there's 1 million people visiting his website every week, and he's just one of so many incredible, beautiful, courageous people that are just saying, listen, we've had enough. We're not buying this crap anymore. We're not buying these false flags. I mean, come on. In the old days, at least you had some kind of dignity, some kind of budget, some kind of planning, but it's getting ridiculous. I mean, you use actors and stage, and you even use the same actors so that you can keep it in a small group. So one is blown up in one, and then suddenly he's alive and a witness in the next one. The same sheriff in the Boston bombing and the Sandy Hook. I mean, at least change person. Give him a different hat. No, same police officer, same name tag, 3 different states. Come on, it's below you. Sometimes I felt, you know, around the Palmer assassination, it is so badly done. The evidence so manipulated in such an incredibly low quality way. Good for someone like me, because it stands out very easy. I mean, at least get the day right, or the date right, or something like that. You know, if one of us would try to get away with a thing like that, at least we would put some effort into making it credible. But these guys know that they will never, they think that they're untouchable, so they don't put a lot of effort into it. So at one point I felt I'm going to go to the secret police in Sweden and just say, listen guy, hire me, I know what to look out for, I know to keep track of what I would look for, so you could use me, at least I could do a good job. I did not mean that seriously, going to them, but at least, come on, this is ridiculous. And that we are buying it, that is an absolute disgrace, I would say, and an absolute joke. Do you know, like the Palmer assassination, the death certificate, they didn't even get the address right. They put a street number that doesn't even exist. It's like, well, what to say. So here we are, and if it's okay with you, I would just like to read the lyrics from a song that I wrote in 97. I'm not a singer, so I'm going to read it. But I think it's something it's valid to this very day. And at one point, I would like if you could please help me. And you go, yeah. Okay. That's when I put my hand up, because that's where we are now. Yay! Is that okay? Can I have a little yay? Yay! Okay. Well, if you want to listen, come closer. I was born with a voice that's not very loud, but I try to make my action be louder. Okay, it's called From Prison to Paradise, inspired by Mr. David Icke. I do not agree with everything he stands for, but that is a strong and very brave man that has done an incredible amount of work. So I salute his bravery.
Yeah!
He is one of the ones one of the ones. I don't know about reptiles, all of these things. I don't care. Whatever truckload that he has been pulling, I salute him. Anyway, it's called From Prison to Paradise. Here we go. Are you ready, by the way?
Yeah!
Once upon a time, that's not now. Once upon a time, in a place not far from here, there was so much loneliness, despair, and oh so much fear. Darkness ruled all over the land, there was lightning in the sky, causing wars and separation, with no one knowing why. These evil times raised leaders, disguised as kind and true, hiding the true in misty fog, so only very few people knew.
Yeah.
No, that's not the yeah. Controlled by an elite few, manipulating you and me, closing out the light and power that can make us all be free. And then the chorus is, wake up, we gotta wake up. Wake up, we gotta wake up now.
Good, has everybody got that one? Anybody bring some guitars? Let's hear it.
Okay. Forced by invisible powers, demanded to conform into shapes unknown to mankind, making them totally abnormal. Drowned in debts and sorrows, blaming others for their lot, made man believe to be inferior, feeling tiny like a dot. But then came time of change.
Yeah!
Covering countries and their towns.
Yeah!
Few became many.
Yeah!
And soon the prison walls came down.
Yeah!
Starting with the man in the mirrors, staring right back into their eyes.
Yeah!
Understanding that this was a chance to stop those hideous lies.
Yeah!
Unhappiness is merely an illusion of misery, based on brainwash and a misconception of true reality. From now on, let's build bridges between our souls and hearts, so we together can rejoice when the final change comes to a start.
Yeah!
Wake up, we gotta wake up. I think you got the chorus. Wake up, we gotta wake up. Okay. Turning prison into paradise may seem too much to achieve, but believe me, it only takes one strong spirit to be free.
Yeah!
The true power of the pyramid is never ever at the top. Instead, it's we the people that can make this global game stop. Did you get it?
Yeah!
Wake up, it's wakey time. Okay, whoa, hold your horses. Okay, so one of the questions that I get asked all the time is that I'm not talking about me, but they say, I'm not a person that can totally devote my life into exposing these type of things. I'm not somebody who has the knowledge or know what to do. So what can I do as a person? My suggestion would be that one of the ways they control us is by fear. They're trying to push us down so we get fearful, depressed, low in energy, selfish, all of these type of things, so that we will be easier to control. This thing with love, it's not just a new age wee you type of spaced out thing, according to me. I think a guy like Jesus was kind of like a super hacker when it came to the matrix that we're living in. He understood, and many others like Buddha and Muhammad and all of these people, what they said was, whatever the problem, love is the answer. And if you look in a laboratory, the frequency that we call love is the highest of the highest. It's higher than the frequency of thoughts and these things. Very, very high. The fear frequency is the lowest of the lows. Pure terror, that's the lowest of the low. You put the two together in a laboratory, what happens? Do they meet in the middle and start fighting and meet like the blah, 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 blah? No. It's amazing what happens, because you let the two meet and boom, the lower one just gets annulled. It just disappears. It's just like you go into a dark room, you find the switch, the dark is there, oh my God, I'm fearful of the dark. Boom, you put on the light, it's gone. There's no struggle, the shadows don't say I'm not leaving, it's gone. This is the way to deal with problems, I would say. And I listened to people that knew what they were talking about, like Jesus and other hackers like that, who cracked the code, saying whatever they're trying to push on us, meet it with a higher frequency. Meet it with a higher frequency. And this frequency has been named love. It's not love, I fancy you, baby. If you are nice to me and do things that I appreciate, then I will love you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the power of that frequency. And that frequency has an immense, it's unbelievable, it's almost a miraculous thing. I've been in war zones, I've been in Iran during the war, I've been in Lebanon and these type of things. I've seen what happens when you are in a threatened position. If somebody puts a gun to your head, or starts screaming or approaching you or try to scare you, intimidate you, if you buy into their game by being fearful, the chances of you getting hurt are very big. It very often escalates into something very negative. If you are able to focus on the higher frequency, what works for me is this word divine. I know it sounds too spaced out for people, but that's the one that works for me. So if somebody starts shouting to me, I met this beautiful police officer the other day. He wanted to arrest me because I walked down the street here for absolutely no reason. He said, "Can you please give me your name?" I said, "Absolutely not." And it just kept on. We had a very, very nice, calm conversation. He said, "Well, I'm going to arrest you and I'm going to take you from here." I said, "Fine. So you have to tell me your name?" I said, "Absolutely not." And but then he said, "But I'm the authority and I need to arrest you." I said, "Okay." And then we had sort of like not a staring game, because I looked in his eyes. He was a gentleman. He was a police captain. Nice, very nice man. There was a young guy as well. No fit. I mean, I met killers. I tracked down assassins. I have been shit scared, because there's some people where there's no light in their eyes. They are dangerous people. Okay, these people, very, very nice. They just had a uniform. Absolutely no idea who they were protecting. So, okay, so I said, "Listen, Mr. Nice Policeman, you know, if you want to, you're welcome to arrest me, but it would be a bit of a waste of time, because what happened is you will arrest me, we will go down to the police station, you will give me a cup of coffee, you will say, 'Give me your name,' I will say no, and then you will say, 'Okay, then I will fine you.' I will say, 'Okay, fine, if that is what you want,' and then you won't get my name, but you will get my money, and then you will, if you're a kind policeman, which I think you are, you will drive me back here and I can continue my walk." Absolute waste of time. Okay, so he did not really know how to deal with it. Listen, if I'm talking about frequencies, because if I had said, "Piss off, you horrible," I would have been arrested direct. They would have hit me in the head, whatever. I don't know what dragged me off, or not the way to deal. So he was getting confused here, because I was focusing in my head, divine. He's my brother, he's somebody's son, he's the father of somebody. Listen, I'll give you a hug if you want, because I really like you. Anyway, in my mind, I did not say that to him, because he was saying, "You're in a police state, and I have the right to get your identity. You have no right. Give me your name, or I will put you in jail." If I'd gone into his game, I would have lost. Okay, so I was not going there. So I thought, divine, divine, divine. I'm absolutely not giving you my name, just so you know it. Divine, divine, divine. Okay, so we had this, not a staring game, but almost. We looked into our eyes, I think 1-2 minutes. While we were doing that, he had nice eyes, kind eyes. And while we were doing that, there were people starting to gather around. Some of them press and so on. And also there were other people that walked by. And I said, "But why don't you stop him? Why don't you stop him?" "No, because I'm the authority, and this is not a game, and it's not up to you to ask questions. You should just give me your name and be quiet." Okay. And then one of my friends said, "But on what grounds would you arrest this man? He was just walking down the street." And he said, paragraph 750. I would very much like to ask a policeman afterward if there is such a paragraph, because I said, "Paragraph 750? And he was like, he couldn't really stop smiling, because I got a feeling that he just made it up because it sounded really cool. But anyway, I said, "Okay, 750, that's the one." And that, he says, is that rule says that if you're in Denmark, the police comes up to you and say, you have to give me your name, address, and date of birth. Okay, that's the law, otherwise you will be arrested. I said, last time I was in Denmark, it was not a police state, so it's not going to happen. Anyway, so we looked at each other for a while. He was getting a bit confused, and also he was getting a bit stressed because people around him were starting to ask questions. And so I thought, okay, in one way I chicken out. I'm not really 100% proud of what I did, but what I said was, let's do it like this. Do you know who you're protecting in here? He said, no. I said it's the Bilderberg group. It's an elite group that is messing this world up. I'm making this story better than it was actually, but I'm just adding a little here there. So, anyway, I lost it. So he said, I don't know, but I said, actually, the people in here have been meeting, many of the members, since the mid-50s, having a secret agenda, absolutely messing this world up for the rest of us, you included, you and your children. So I said, isn't it strange that here we are, I'm walking on this side of the street, I did absolutely nothing. I did absolutely nothing. And you stopped me, when actually I, as a taxpayer, are paying your wages to protect me from people like that. So I said, well, he said, okay, but actually it's not up to me because we got other policemen inside. They know who they are. I said, no, they don't, because they're not allowed in either. All of these people are just on the outside protecting something they have no idea about. And if you look about it, if you once again study history, if you change the names, it's the same power elite, but it might as well be Adolf Hitler, Goering, Goebbels, these type of people that they were protecting. So I said, it's not even exaggerated, it's the absolute truth. So I said to him, okay, since it's a waste for you to arrest me, let's do it like this. You promise me that you will go down tonight, you'll go home, you will look up the Bilderberg group on the internet. Nowadays, when I started, absolutely no one had heard of it, absolutely no way to find out, or very hard to find out info. Today, it's just all over the place. So I said, Mr. Kind Policeman, please, you promise, you go home, you study this group, so that you know who you are protecting me from. Check out their agenda, check out the background, educate yourself. Okay, so he nodded. So I said, do you promise me to do that? Because if you promise me to do that, I will tell you who I am. He said, okay. So I gave him my name, I gave him my absolute false address, and I said an absolute false date of birth. Okay. Okay. And then, because that is, I mean, I don't live in Denmark, I don't have a Danish, whatever the number is called, social security, whatever, I don't have it. So, and the address, absolutely no way, I'm not giving that. I mean, you can find me anyway, it's so easy, so it's a joke anyway. So, I gave it to him, he wrote it down, and I said, so now you're gonna go home and study this group? He said, no, I'm not into politics. And I said, this is not about politics, it's about criminality. We're talking crimes on a scale that is immense. Anyway, so I gave him, he got my name, and by that time he was totally surrounded by other people asking questions, and they were trying to put down all the names and numbers or whatever. So I thought, okay, fine, my job is done, so we took off and walked off. And it's a matter of mindset. This is just a small example, but even if somebody points a gun at you, as long as they don't shoot, you're fine. You know, don't buy into the game. If you become fearful of them, you're in their ball game. If you become violent, they will just use that as a major excuse to hit back monk-fold, you know. That is why I am totally against being part of a group. I normally do not take part of things like this. It's just because Charlotte is such a beautiful person and she invited me, so I said I would love to come. I'm not a, what do you call it, activist, I'm not a demonstrator, I'm a friend of whoever. Behave. If you do not behave, I will expose you. If you hurt other people, I will expose you. And if you do it on a big scale, I will expose you even more.
Yeah.
Or something bad will happen to me. Who knows? I have absolutely no idea. I take it one step at a time. But the mindset is the major one. And once again, even if somebody points a gun at you, as long as they do not pull the trigger, you are fine. Keep smiling, keep the focus. This is what is so beautiful in these days, where instead of when there's what do you call these anti-riot teams are coming and say whoa, 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 whoa. When people put up mirrors saying, listen my friend, check yourself out. I mean, come on, are you really proud of what you've become? Are you really proud of what you're doing? Do you think there's any kind of dignity, any kind of humanity in what you're doing? Don't you think we look kind of nice, kind of friendly? Is there really a reason for you to hit me in the head? I'm just standing here. Do you think tear gas is the way to meet me? Instead of like share a beer or something like that, I would suggest the beer. Also the way that one of my absolute favorites is this, they started like a brigade of clowns. Have you seen them? Oh God, I love these guys. What they do is when you got these riot police, they stand up next to them, identical, but with red hair and big noses, and whatever the riot police do, they do as well, but next to them. You know, so when they stand like this next to them, that's the way to go. Defuse it, you know. Do not lose the humor, do not use the love inside, because then you're in their ball game, and that will possibly hurt. So be strong, be brave. I can see all of you. I mean, I think you're beautiful. I really do, and I really admire you for being here.
Same here.
Thank you so much. And it's going to be a great future. And I tell you one thing. Have you seen, there's a beautiful video on YouTube. It's called How to Start a Movement, or How a Movement is Started. Because this is very symbolic for what is going on at the moment. There's this, I think it's at a rock concert somewhere. Somebody's just filming. There's a whole crowd sitting in a grassy knoll type of thing. And one person stands up, a guy, he stands up, throw off his shirt and start dancing. I mean, he looks like a frog in a mixer. He cannot dance, this guy, at all. No rhythm, no nothing. But he's super happy. The energy is there, totally positive, in no fear mode. Okay? He's just going, yeah, like this. Everybody's sitting pointing. Oh, look at the tinfoil hat, crazy guy. You know, you can just change the label, conspiracy theorist, loony, you name it. Okay, everybody's pointing. He's weird. But what happened? One person do not make the difference. But then about like half a minute later, a second guy suddenly comes up, and here's the important one. The first one really welcomes him. The second guy dances even worse, but they're really happy going for it. Then about 15 seconds later, there's a third guy, then a fourth, then a fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Suddenly, it takes like half a minute from it's only being a handful. The whole place is dancing, and then the people sitting in the back saying, oh my God, they're weird. Suddenly they're on the outside. So they join just because, oh my God, like this. So just so quickly, woof, is a movement started. I would say I've been one of the ones that could not dance, and I've been on a very, very lonely road for many years. But at the moment, I would say we're beyond tipping point. Beyond the tipping point, there's this incredibly beautiful movement going, not in any ways that this symbolizes that we just being a handful of people, but people just, they can see there's something really weird going on that is not right, and they're waking up by the thousands every day. So I think, dear Mr. or members of the Bilderberg group, very sorry to say, your days are over. They have had their time of absolute greed. I speak in many interviews. I've done countless interviews the last few years on international radio, Danish and Swedish radio. I'm sure you have not heard one single word about the Palme assassination, anything. I've sent, yeah, but not on national radio or anything. I've sent my book to them. I said, here I am, use me. I've spent 30 years, I identified everyone involved. Please contact me. Please stop saying, was it the lone patsy, was it not? Was it the lone patsy, was it not? It was not, okay? Can we get that over and done with? Here are the here are the people who did it. Here's this power elite behind it. Here's how it was carried out. I'm here, use me. Has anyone contacted me about... That's a 0 if you don't see me. And here in Denmark, I made like a press release before I came here saying, please use me, I'm here. I have spent so many years, my head is full of this. Please release me, you know, take it out and use it so it can lead to something good. I sent out 1,100, more than 1,000 press releases. How many contacted me? 2 or 3, 2, something like that. What's going on? What's going on? So that's not the way to go. You can't expect media to do this. And yesterday, I was interviewed, I don't know, some kind of TV channel here, and this woman, really nice woman, who was doing her job, absolutely no idea what was going on in there. She said to me, but she was asking me about the background, about the Bilderberg group and how come and so on. And so she said, but if what you say is true, how come there's so little media here? So I took the microphone for her. I said, so if what I say is true, how come there's so little media here? And pointed the microphone at her. No answer, and hopefully maybe she will go home and start looking into what the Bilderberg group. It takes the ripple effect. So what every single one of you do is really, really important, I tell you. Every single one of you. So be aware of what you spread. Do not spread fear, because this is an easy way to go. When you go into these dark corners, it's very easy to spread all of this negative thing around you. Live by example. Show that it's possible to be high in energy, to be a beautiful human being that will not take it anymore. Just like Gandhi said, it's not a matter of fighting back, it's a matter of standing up, say, I see you, I'm not taking it anymore. I'm not doing what you want me to do. I'm not fighting you, but I'm not doing it. We're not taking part of this game anymore. And everything is possible. So, once again, I salute you. I salute our dear friends in uniform. And listen, it's the future. I tell you, what I think, the change, we're so close to the whole change of where everything's going to change. It's beyond the tipping point, I think. It looks very scary, but it's like the dragon has been slain already. That is why they're getting very, very agitated, very nervous, because they think, oh my God, when people find out what we've been up to for so many years, they're gonna lynch us. And I say, very possibly. I would not be part of that, but there's a great possibility. So the way forward for them is to get some balls, some courage, and step forward. Because now is the time for them to step forward. Now they will be welcomed as heroes, you know, become whistleblowers. We will welcome them with a warm embrace, especially if they step forward and say, from the bottom of their heart, if they feel so, that I am so sorry for what I've been part of creating. I will take my responsibility, I will take whatever punishment if that is, but I will stand in bravery and truth and transparency, expose everything I've been part of. We will welcome them. I will welcome them. The longer they wait, the colder the embrace will be. But the thing is, it's going down. And what most people are not aware of is that the elite they have been getting away for so many years without, they thought they were untouchables. In, I think it was 2006, I'm very proud to say I'm friend with one of the judges of the War Tribune in Kuala Lumpur. I don't know if you heard about that one, but Tony Blair, George Bush Jr., Dick Cheney were subpoenaed to court in Kuala Lumpur. There was a people's court of international lawyers and judges. Of course they didn't dare to come. They didn't come. But the whole court case was there. and they were sentenced for crimes against peace, crimes against humanity, and war crimes on a scale that is very, very high. This sentence was brought to the War Tribune in Hague, so it's an active sentence, and many of the countries that are connected to this court, if they come to that court, to that country, if that country has some kind of courage, it is for them to arrest these people. So it's closing in on them. And I would also say on the 31st of March this year, the English Queen Elizabeth Windsor II and the former Pope were subpoenaed to court in Brussels. The accusation, child genocide. I mean, this is heavy, heavy, heavy. And then just a few days before she was subpoenaed, Queen Elizabeth put out a press release saying that due to high age, I'm sorry, I can't travel anymore. I would say, okay, maybe Elizabeth could have had anything to do with Brussels. I'm just saying it's going down, and the future is beautiful. And if you can bear with me just a few minutes more. Okay. I will just say one more thing. Because we are in a universe with very strict rules. Too many, there's the gravity, there's many other rules that we live by we just have to accept this is the way it goes. And if you look in a laboratory, if you start with a low frequency, you take a loudspeaker, you put it upside down, you put a piece of cardboard on top of it, and then you put sand on. If you put a low frequency, what happens is that the sound will start shaking, and then it moves into an absolute beautiful pattern, like a snowflake pattern. Okay, low frequency. When you start raising the energy, what happens is that first nothing happens, and then after a while suddenly it starts shaking, and then suddenly it just clicks into a new perfect pattern, totally different to the one that was there before, but absolute magnificent new pattern. Okay, you keep raising the energy, nothing happens, it starts shaking, it starts being uncomfortable, and then boom, it goes into the next one. I would say that this is also what is happening with us, that there's this energy, a rising energy of awareness going on. So we are at the point where at least the last few years, it's really been shaking a lot. There's a lot of people that say that it started in the 1980s, where we started to the next level, and there's been a lot of shaking around 2013, 12 and 13 and so on. But then times of change come, just like I said in my song. I think we're very close to where it suddenly just jumps into the next level, and that level, if it goes like I hope, is where duality ends, where these type of things just stops, where we start seeing each other as one, helping each other, doing beautiful things for each other instead of fighting each other and this thing. So I would say in my calculations, I'm not good at math, but within a year or two, that is what I see, not 30 years or 40 years or for my grandchildren, it's now. And the native Indians, and then I will shut up after this, the native Indians say that we, the souls that have come down at this point, we are the strongest of the strong. We're not weak wimps, you know. Anybody who's in a wimp mode at this time, sorry, that is not why you came here. You came here to be proud of yourself. You have been chosen by your dead ancestors to come down at this time of great challenges. So this is not a time to pick your nose, change the channels, eat another pizza. This is the time to wake up and see what's going on and raise your energy. And the way to raise it is, instead of looking at yourself, I just want to say depression without being rude in any way, but there's a description of depression, and that is me, my problems, me, mine problems. I'm the weak one, I'm sad, all of these things. The way to raise the energy is help someone else. Go out, whatever you can do random, instead of drive-by shooting, do random acts of kindness, do drive-by huggings, whatever. Raise the energy. Go to your neighbor, fix their garden when they're not home, you know, hug a tree, hug a policeman, whatever it is, you know, especially things that gives people hope. That is the way to go. Because kindness has this incredible thing that it makes you feel better, raising your energy. It makes the receiver feel better, raise their energy. And they made tests that everyone who sees an act of kindness, it makes them feel better as well. And they get inspired to do the same. And the higher we are in energy, the more difficult for them to control us. So don't buy into all this crap you see on TV about the world being an absolute terrorist state, awful place that everybody's just shooting and killing each other. We look around you. Don't focus on the chemtrails, but look around you, see how absolutely beautiful life is around you. And by appreciating what you've got, that is the way to go. And now I'm going to be quiet. I don't know if you heard that question. The question is, am I too spaced out and thinking about a spiritual world, or is this something that can be done on this level? I said totally here. We cannot depend on media, because that would be the natural way, that media is the one to do these things. Our police are the ones that should protect us from them. So it's not happening. We need to take our own power back. I'm not saying by violence in any way, but by waking up and standing our own power inside, become aware, inform ourselves, educate ourselves and so on. If we trust media to do it for us, absolutely it's not going to happen. And nothing bad about the journalists. They're often so stressed out because by design they're nowadays they get so many assignments about what did Britney Spears get for breakfast or whatever football star has a knee injury, instead of focusing on what actually matters. So I don't blame them either, even though it's their responsibility, big time, including the police and the military forces, to educate themselves. Whose agenda are you serving? How come you have sworn loyalty to the people and you're not doing it? You know, they are actually super criminal, most of these people. The agenda is extremely criminal. If you see unjust wars and invasion of countries that have absolutely no guilt and whatever, they just kill and destroy and all of these things. I mean, I would say that it's an absolute atrocity against humanity, and they just keep repeating it. So, inform them. Oh, I'm getting tired of listening to my own voice. But anyway, life is good. Let's keep it like that. And let's give me a hug.
One love.
We give you love.
You need more love.
They don't know.